my head. You getting hyped yet? I'm getting hyped. At the time I'm recording this, I am 13 days away from the release of Season 2 of The Black. And you know what? There are so many questions raised by Season 1 of The Black that we haven't had answers to yet. The show was quite skillful in leaving out certain parts of information and building a sense of mystery and, you know, giving people like me shit to make videos about, I guess. So here, I'm gonna pin up the 5 burning questions I need to get answered in Season 2. And first up, and most obviously for me, would be Boy's origin. Taylor has a line at the end of Season 1 that kind of insinuated that Boy was of precursor origin, but I'm not entirely sure how he could have known that, so I do wonder sometimes whether it'll turn out that Boy could be of human design. I mean, it's a long shot, but it's not impossible. Oh wait, it better not be the love child of this guy and that kaiju brain. No, it can't be. Most likely, he's a precursor infiltration unit designed to use those big blue eyes and unthreatening looks. No, it can't be, surely. That would be fucked up. Most likely, he's a precursor infiltration unit designed to use those big blue eyes and unthreatening looks to sneak into largely populated areas without raising suspicion or alarm before his beast mode is somehow triggered and all that animalistic murderous rage is unleashed and in the middle of an unsuspecting environment where no one is prepared to defend an attack like this. Chaos, death, and destruction would ensue. But even if that is the case, the next question would be, how did he get in this tank? He must have come through a breach, right? How did the PPDC detect that there was something different about this kid? And why put him in a tank under a training facility as opposed to, say, for example, Shadow Basin, which is far away from everything and therefore a lot safer? My second question would be, how did Trespasser return? We saw him in the trailer and I am pumped. But what's the story here? We know that the precursors are cloning the gargantuan bioweapons, but it's really curious that they've gone from making bigger and stronger kaiju each time, culminating with the Cat 5s and then of course the Mega Kaiju in Uprising, to making acid quills and copperheads. And then they've gone back a step further to the first kaiju ever released onto mankind. Well, you know, it's not that I'm not happy to see the old axe head again, but I don't really understand why. Are they upgrading old models, so to speak? Like taking the superficial aspects of old kaiju but souping them up a bunch? Maybe that's what it is. If I recall, Loa did mention upon entering the boneyard that it was strewn with bodies of leatherbacks and Otachis, so reusing the old models is clearly precursor standard practice now. But why? To be honest, I've got a feeling there might be a production reason, like the studio doesn't want to go to the expense of creature designing and 3D modeling and then animating new models, so they're just reusing the old shit. My next question would be, what's happened to Shane? As I said in my last video, he ain't anywhere to be seen in the trailer. And what with the introduction of the new bad guys of the cultist sisters of the Kaiju, what exactly is his role going to be in Season 2? Might he, in the face of an even worse evil, turn good? It's possible. Despite everything, he did have some sort of strange bond with May, and you kind of got the sense that he did care for her a little bit. So that might sway him to turning back to the light side. Is Herc really dead? Check out my review of Pacific Rim Blackout if you want more information on all of this, but as you know, at the end of Season 1, Herc Hansen initiated the Black Protocol before succumbing to an acid quill. Now this guy is kind of like a cult hero, you know what I mean? He's kind of like a fan favorite. So I find it weird that they didn't give him any better send-off than this. So I would say that there's at least a 50% chance that he's not dead and that he's coming back. It could be that they just find his dead body and put a flower on it or something like that, but he needs a better send-off, I feel. Probably the most obvious question left from Season 1 is what happened to Taylor and Haley's parents? Somebody in the comments asked me to do a theory on this. Sorry, I forget your username. But the reason I haven't already is I don't think it's going to be that exciting. I think if they had made it back to one of the evacuation points, they would have, you know, got another Jaeger and come looking for their kids. So my feeling is that something is stopping them. Something is holding them captive somewhere. And the most obvious explanation for that would be the Sisters of the Kaiju, who, as we know, absolutely hate Jaeger pilots. Another question related to this would be, why did they abandon Hunter Vertigo? Remember, the kids got a recorded message from the mother and father saying that they were being overpowered by, was it some kind of smarter kaiju? I can't remember the exact phrasing, but that's definitely something that needs further explanation. I want to know what's going on with that car from the trailer, this 6-wheeled sort of dragster racer thing with missiles on the top, which somebody in the comments reckoned that it looked like it was being driven by May. Someone else theorized that this might have been built by Sean with all of the Jaeger parts that he had managed to acquire over the years. And if that's the case, I will be a little bit disappointed because I was hoping to see him turn up in his rusty old beast of a Jaeger. I think the biggest question, though, would be, what are the sisters planning? They clearly have some plan that they've already set in motion. Buying up kaiju eggs, siphoning out blood as we see here.
We took the blood of the little human.
Here from the trailer. And then we have the leader of the cult, this white robe wearing freak show here with kaiju-like hands and a weird sort of bald head and reptilian face. Baldy! Your first guess would be she's trying to turn herself into a kaiju. But why? Could they be developing some compound that they release over the population which turns everybody into little kaiju? I told you about the chemtrails! There's a disconcerting thought, like add it to the water supply and next time you brush your teeth. My next few questions are more about the Pacific Rim universe overall and not specifically about Season 2 of The Black. And my first one, as highlighted by Kay right here, will we ever see anything stronger than a Category 5 kaiju? Of course, we had the Mega Kaiju, which didn't really have a category because it was just such a jimble jamble mishmash of all sorts of fuck knows what. But I understand that a lot of people were kind of frustrated when we jumped back to Category 3 Acid Quills and Category 4 Copperhead. And I kind of understand why they did that. You know, like, if you suddenly threw a Mega Kaiju in up against Atlas Destroyer, Atlas ain't got a chance. But it's a real shame that they haven't carried on that trajectory of each Kaiju being more powerful than the last. So my question would be, will we ever see anything more powerful than the Mega Kaiju? I mean, it would be super overpowered if we did, but what do you guys think? And something occurred to me just right now. Could it be that we already have? Another question that's not really relevant to The Black at all is, will we ever see Raleigh again? But to end with my last question, and I've mentioned this in videos before, is where does the Pacific Rim universe go from here? Pacific Rim The Black was only commissioned for 2 seasons, so it's safe to say that the story will probably round itself off at the end of its run. We're yet to hear of any Pacific Rim comics from Legendary Comics in the pipeline, but none of this means that the universe is dead, but it does make it kind of hard to see where it's going to go from here. I have a feeling that this season will end with the kids escaping with their parents, evacuating the continent of Australia, and Boy somehow sacrificing himself to seal all the breaches that have opened up. That's what my gut says. I'm sorry if that turns out to be right and then it turns out to be a spoiler. But I doubt very much that this season ends with the destruction and the end of the precursor threat. So, I don't know. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there are any unresolved questions that you would like answered in Season 2 of The Black, and I will see you very soon for the next one. Thank you very much for watching, and cheerio, bye!